So a few months ago, I was helping at a training of a group of entrepreneurs, and we were talking about some basic business skills, and something that was super fascinating to me that I realized or discovered as we were on this training was that a lot of those entrepreneurs had a major gap that needed filling. And it was a gap that I was really surprised that they had. And some things come a little more naturally or make a little more sense to some people, and some things come a little more naturally and make sense to other people, right? So there's different pieces. And so it was really, like I said, really surprising to me that this is something that hadn't really been talked about. And that was kind of our bad that we hadn't talked about it yet. And so that's what I wanted to bring here tonight is that gap piece that those people had. This isn't necessarily like the most fun topic to really focus on, but it is definitely one that needs to happen. And this is what you can do to help make sure that you avoid the pit of despair, but also so that you never even have to go into the fire swamp in the first place, so that you can avoid these different pieces, right? So that's what we're going to talk about today. And when I say the word budget, what do you think? That's a little bit about a hint about what we're going to talk about tonight. And like I said, it's maybe not the most exciting piece to talk about, but it is definitely essential to your business. It can make or break it. It can make it so that you're either going to have to go in and forge the fire swamp and deal with the pit of despair, or you can avoid all of it altogether. Okay. So that's what we're going to talk about tonight. And this is super simple stuff, so that you can, no matter where you're at in your journey, like this is super simple business stuff and budget stuff. And I even have a little gift at the end that I'm happy to give to you to help you as you're working on starting looking at your budget for your business. Okay. So, if we have not met before, I am Debbie Dunford with David and Debbie Dunford. So it's great to be here with you today. And we show other entrepreneurs how to leverage their time, leverage the online marketing space so that you can grow that ideal lifestyle that you want. We do it through magnetic marketing, through mind mastery, through teaching you things like becoming that CEO or that chief entrepreneur officer, like we like to call it, and servant leadership. Those are the main things that we really focus on. And so it's great to be here with you today. And we're going to talk more, focus more on that CEO piece today, that budgeting piece. Okay. So, as you're hopping on, make sure and say hi. Let me know where you are watching from. David and I are in the Salt Lake Valley area. It's funny, whenever I say that, I look out my window like, yep, right there. We're from the Salt Lake Valley area of Utah. And we've been getting some snow lately. Let me know if you have been getting snow lately. I mean, it's been crazy around the world, all the different places that are getting hit hard with snow. And we've barely gotten any until the last few days. So I'm grateful that we're getting that water. But okay, so let me know, say hi, and put hashtag replay if you're watching the replay, so I can come back and say hi to you then later on. So a couple questions I have for you. First of all, is one, do you know what your monthly income is? And if it kind of ranges and goes up and down, that's totally fine. But do you know kind of the range that it's in? Second of all, do you know what your monthly expenses are? Okay. That is probably more of the area that you may not be as familiar with. Do you know down to the dollar what your monthly expenses are? Not generally, but do you know down to the dollar what your monthly expenses are? Again, even if they're going up and down or wavering, if they're not consistent month after month, can you figure it out right away, right? The one thing that I wanted to kind of, a third question, I guess, that I wanted to ask you is, are your expenses less than your income or more? Okay, so you know what your income is, you know what your expenses are. Are your expenses less than your income or more? Because if your income is less than your expenses and you're first starting up, that's pretty typical, right? And that's fine. Again, it's just a matter of how long can you manage that? How long can you keep that up with your income being less than your expenses? Are you aware of how long you can keep that up? before you need to start making a profit. Okay. So those are some questions I really want you to ask yourself to see, kind of get an idea so that become aware of where you're at, get an idea of where things sit, where you're sitting. And if you're not really sure about any of those questions, then this is definitely going to benefit you. This live is definitely going to benefit you. So I want to give you a few simple steps to do to really get going and make sure that your budget is working for you, so that you make sure that you have a budget. Okay. So again, super simple things so that you can get going and keep yourself out of that fire swamp completely, right? So first thing is decide where you're going to keep the budget. Okay, so super simple. Again, this may not be the most exciting piece, but it is an essential piece. Okay, so decide where you're going to keep your budget. Are you going to like pen and paper it, which is totally fine? Are you going to do some kind of spreadsheet? Or there are also lots of programs out there that generally is more expensive. They usually have some freebies, some free trial stuff or whatnot. But generally, to get it working for you, you're going to have to pay for some kind of budget program. So again, first decide where is it going to make the most sense for you to keep it. I personally keep it on a Google document, because then I can access it on my computer, on my phone, on my tablet, like on any electronic device, portable electronic device, I can access it. So that's where I personally choose to keep it. It's just super simple for me that way. The second thing is to create categories for the different expense types and income. And you'll notice I'm just kind of looking off at my notes a little bit. So you want to create categories for your different expense types and the income as well. Okay, so what I'd have you do is, or recommend, is just brainstorm and brain dump all the different expenses that you have. Online, you're going to have different things. Some of those might be if you have a calendar that you're using and you're paying for that calendar instead of the free version because you've gotten to that point where you need to pay for it. If you're paying for some kind of content planner and scheduler, that's another thing that you might need to, that you might have as an expense. So those kinds of things. Also the income, very important to make sure you have kept track of the income. And also, are you keeping track or keeping an account of what your taxes each month might need to be based off of the income you're receiving? Okay, so if you don't have an income quite yet, then that's a category just to hold off until down the road. But as soon as you start making an income, you're going to need, even, US, Canada, wherever you're at, you're going to need to pay taxes on that income. And so having a category that you're taking out of your income and putting it towards taxes is going to be really, really important. And maybe you have expenses like a tablet or any kind of little gadget, or like a ring light for videos, or laptop, things like that you might come across. And so those are the kinds of things that you want to brainstorm and brain dump. Advertising, any kind of training that you're going to invest in, right? So money set aside for that. So those are all the different types of expenses you might have. So what I do with those is take those and put those into different categories, so that you can, and I'll explain in a bit like what that's for, because you're going to take a percentage of your income and put it into those different categories. So for example, I have categories. The categories I split my income into are taxes, donations that we make. What are some of the other ones? The profit. Did you know you need a profit category? Because you need to pay yourself, right? You want to pay yourself for what you're doing. So you want taxes, if you do donations or whatnot, profit that you make. And then I have another one that's my expenses category. And then I've itemized all those different things in a different section. But just in my bank account, I've got those different accounts set up so that when I get my income, I can disperse, okay, this percentage goes to taxes. So this is the third item that I would recommend you do, is divvy up the income into the different categories, okay? So I have an expenses one, I have a profit account that I put money into, I have a taxes account that I put money into, like I said, and then I have that donation account. So those are, I think those are all the ones. So those are the main categories that I have. So that way, when when it comes time to pay my taxes, I just pull from that account. It just sits there. It's money I can't use. It's a savings account, and I put that right into the taxes. Um, if it's profit, I put that profit into there, and then I can pay myself from that, right? Um, Same with the expenses. When it comes time for expenses, it's just, here's the money. I don't need to worry about it, right? So, so there's kind of a few step process. If you caught that, just kind of to summarize, is first you're going to come up with where you're going to keep your different budget pieces. Okay, pen, paper, whatever it is that you want to do. Second thing is to create all those budget categories and then list out the different expenses that those are. Okay. Or all the different itemized pieces. So under expenses, what are all those pieces that you need to pay for your business to keep running? And you can simplify that part as much as possible. And I would really recommend doing that, especially if you're still working on getting more profit than expenses. Simplify, get creative, and don't pay for things that you really don't have the money for yet. Okay, just get creative and make it work in other ways so that you can start to pay yourself and make a profit first, before you start paying out your expenses and different things. So you're going to itemize those all out in there. Put, how much each item costs. And I kind of skipped that earlier. So that's an important step in number 2, is to write down how much each item costs and add that up, like all your expenses. What is that full amount? And then also, you're going to go ahead and put the income. Like, do you have multiple streams of income? Where do they come from? How much do you make each month from those? And list those out. And then you're going to bring it all together and figure out, okay, so here's my income. Here's take away the expenses, including the taxes and all that. What do I have left, right? So that's one way to keep your budget super simple, making sure you are aware of what your expenses are. And that's the gap that we saw on this this training that I helped do, is that people were not aware of what their expenses really were. They had an idea, well, yeah, I'm paying for this and that and the other, but it was just kind of all scattered and out there. It hadn't been compiled to where they could actually see, I pay for this and I pay this much for that. And I pay for this each month and it's that much money, right? So listing it out can give you an exact picture of what you're actually spending each month on your business, and of where you might be able to slim down the fat, right? And take out what you don't need as an expense right now. Some places that you can get creative until you've got the income, until you've got that profit to be able to pay for those things, right? Because if you don't do that, if you don't budget and make sure that your income and expenses are more in alignment, and that you're paying for taxes and things like that, setting aside money for taxes, it will come to bite you. It has come to bite several people, and it could even put you out of business if you're not careful with that. So hopefully that's helpful. Let me know what you got from this, maybe an aha that you had. And I'm really excited because, like I mentioned at the beginning, I have a little gift that's a super simple thing that I put together, that it's just a copy of a spreadsheet that I have, so that it can help you. It's already got the categories. It's already got the formulas to be able to just add everything up together easily. Expenses, income, what are they? And it calculates it for you. And then it subtracts everything for you as well. And it even includes that taxes piece. So if that is something that would help you, it's just a gift. Just put budget down in the comments, in the discussion, and I will make sure and connect with you and get that emailed out to you. So hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. Thanks so much for joining me, and join me next week on our live. And if you have not, you can follow us here on our fan page, just click the little follow button. I'm doing this but that's the like, and that's what's going away. So click the little follow button and you'll be notified when we go live next week. Have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you later. Bye.